Matthew 5:21-37. You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, "You shall not murder, and anyone who murders will be subject to judgment." But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, "Raka," is answerable to the court. And anyone who says, "You fool," will be in danger of the fire of hell. Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First, go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift.
Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. Truly I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny.
You have heard that it was said, "You shall not commit adultery." But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell.
It has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, makes her the victim of adultery. And anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery.
Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, "Do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made." But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one.
This is serious, come on. It's time to end the suspense, that row of reserved seats. Those are the prime seats in the house, yes, not too far forward, not too far back. Those seats this morning have reserved signs on them. Those signs are an invitation. And they are an invitation to the bona fide, 100% true blue, real Christians in this congregation, whom I'm going to call the CCMI A team, to sit, have the best seats in the house, just for you. Enjoy that privilege. So, this is not a time to be shy. It's not a time to be modest. I'm going to run through the requirements once again. We just heard them, but I'm going to run through them again. And if you hear yourself shining in this virtue, we save the best seats for you. Here we go. First requirement is that you never get seriously angry with anybody. Second requirement is that you never look at anybody other than your partner, imagining what it might be like to sleep with them. And third, that there's nobody upset with you today, anywhere, such that you ought to be out there making peace with that person before you come to worship. Okay, now this is serious because I'm going to take it for granted that probably most of us here have never killed anybody, and that, God willing, we have a higher than average sort of percentage of people who have never broken their vows to their partner by sleeping with somebody else. However, that's the old checklist, yeah? That's the one, the morality that Jesus inherited. What he did in this Sermon on the Mount was to raise the bar. So these are the new requirements. Never angry, never looked at anybody other than your partner, imagining what it might be like to sleep with them, and there's nobody anywhere else upset with you. There's just one more, that is that you mustn't be in the habit of ever calling anybody a fool. not to their face, not behind their back, not even in the privacy of your own head. So, how are we doing?
Is there a D or an E or a zero?
We're getting there. Point made, right? It isn't just that what Jesus demands is impossible. I struggle with it because, for me, this isn't even desirable. It isn't even attractive. I like it when somebody puts a challenge in front of me. It's something that I can reach for, and if I get there, that's great. Celebrate a bit of progress, that feels really good. But this list of requirements is so far removed from the reality inside us that it's more likely to make us want to give up, or maybe more seriously, to turn our back on Jesus as somebody who just can't take very seriously. Full disclosure, I've never been enthusiastic about Christian ethics as a discipline. My good husband and I met in the Intro to Christian Ethics class at seminary. We can tell you that story sometime. He went on to take more and more ethics classes, was even in a PhD program for a while, ethics. I scraped through Ethics 101 and never took another class. What they do is they spend the whole semester posing tricky questions and trying to make you figure out what's the right thing to do. So, for example, the classic one is somebody's fleeing from the Nazis and they come to your door, help me, and so you hide them in your house, yeah, and then 5 minutes later the Nazi soldier comes knocking on the door, and what's the right thing for you to do? Lying is wrong. So there are serious Christians who would say what you're supposed to do is to say to the soldier, oh, he's upstairs in the closet in the bedroom, you'll find him up there. But I'll bet most of us would say the right thing to do would be to muster your inner actor and lie through your teeth and do your best to protect the person, right? Right? So our guts know that. But then the question becomes, if it's okay to lie in that situation, where's the line? When does it not become okay to lie, right? I can't be doing with it. It just does my head in. Christian ethics for me was one headache after another for a whole semester. So even this morning driving to church, hearing on the radio that ethics committee in Washington, my goodness, they've been working full time. Thank goodness I don't have to serve on that. The class that I enjoyed a whole lot more in seminary was the one on Western mysticism. It was one of our summer school options. It was taught by a Roman Catholic priest, a monk, who was an amazing guy. Wild hair and wild eyes, a real kind of mountain man in a brown habit. And I remember one day he talked to us about the movie Dr. Zhivago. I hope you've all seen Dr. Zhivago, right? He said it was right for Zhivago to have an affair with the beautiful Lara out there in Siberia, despite the fact of his sweet, demure wife, his trusted wife, waiting for him back in Moscow. It was right because life demanded it, he says. Zhivago means life. To follow Christ is to reach out past boring middle-class morality, to embrace the gritty, exhilarating reality of life and find God there. But maybe it's his pernicious influence that has me so grumpy about Matthew's Jesus. I just can't believe that being holy consists in all of us putting straitjackets on our bodies and our brains. It positively horrifies me to imagine that heaven is only open to the kind of straight-laced people who never have an unworthy thought. And what's unworthy anyway? Can we discuss that? I suspect I would actually be a better person if I got angry more often. My way is to keep the anger buried so deep inside that I'm not even aware of it, and then about once a decade it all explodes and leaves the bodies lying all over the place. I don't think that more repression is the answer to that. Likewise with sex. Think about all the lives damaged by religious hang-ups about sex over the last 2,000 years and more. Christianity has left a trail of human wreckage in its wake. All the cruelty, the self-loathing, the punishment, the shame. Thanks all the same, Jesus, but I think I'll stick with the old law about adultery, because I get that. When people break their promises, they make a mess of their own lives, they hurt other people. There's something in there about people being able to trust you. You can feel how important that is. Nobody here would disagree with that. But to demonize the healthy desires that go along with being sexual human beings just is not helpful. And how could any compassionate person want to outlaw divorce or make it so restricted, telling people they have to stay together in a marriage that's killing them? What's Christian about that? Not to mention that when somebody is behaving like an idiot, we should all have the right to say so. And not least, hello, because Jesus did it all the time. Maybe there's something cultural going on there that I just don't understand. I spent quite a bit of time with the commentaries this week, and I know from what I read in the worthy work of the scholars is that all over the world, preachers are going to be squirming today, trying to finesse these words of Jesus into something that we can live by. I'm just not impressed by that. I look at them and I think of our young friend Sophie, the contortionist, twisting and turning to find their way around words that are just appalling. Poor souls. I'm glad that you laughed before we even started so that I don't have to play that game. Let's focus instead on what we do need to redeem. Christianity isn't impressed by spotless behavior on the outside if what's inside doesn't match. Right? Holiness isn't just the face you show in public, it's who you are. And there is such a thing as living in God's light, becoming genuinely beautiful inside. And the key to all of it for us is to realize how far we've got to go down that road. If that's the business we're in, it has a lot to say about what the church could be in supporting each of us on our spiritual journeys. The stereotype is that Christians are judgmental people, yeah? They're prudes who spend all their time condemning what other people do, lamenting this and abhorring that, shaking our heads while we shine our own halos and look forward to our reward in heaven, certain that a whole lot of other people are going to hell. How did that happen? How did we let that happen? Somehow we need to get across that belonging to the church, coming to church, is a whole lot more like coming to an AA meeting. Hello, my name is Roberta, and I'm a sinner. Coming here is my promise that I'm going to try to be ruthlessly honest with myself and with you about what I'm really like. And I'm going to make amends wherever I can. But basically, my hope lies in a higher power that I believe can heal me from the inside out. Belonging here means being part of a group where every single person knows what it's like to wake up in the morning, remembering what you've done, and the people that you've let down, and the people who are justifiably disgusted with you, and feeling like dirt, and getting up anyway, and doing your best to make things better. Or for variety, it means waking up in the morning, knowing what you said you were going to do, all those noble things that you promised, things that any decent person would be doing right now, given how much all of it matters, and acknowledging that you haven't done any of it. Too preoccupied, too busy being selfish, too lazy to take the trouble, too fond of a comfortable life, or maybe just not strong enough. In short, it means knowing that if there isn't forgiveness out there from God and from other people, there's not much hope for any of us. It feels awful. But it also feels hopeful. Being honest is the first step. God can work with somebody who's honest, and it feels healthy being with other honest people who know what you're going through. And you know how sometimes people can look at you and they see past the mask to what's really going on inside, and then when they smile at you, just feel the warmth touching who you are in there. Feel how strong we could be, all of us together. What I need from Jesus is that he be right here beside us, one of us. I need him to know exactly what it's like to live inside my brain and my skin. I need him to be dealing with the same kind of raw material as what I've got to work with. And then I need him to show me how the change happens, how the goodness can grow, how an ordinary human being can shine when they're in love with God. If he isn't going to give us anything to hang on to, but try harder, you just got to try harder, come on, try harder, then I, for one, am going to give up right now. And I'm not chopping off any hands, thank you very much. What a terrible thing to say. Thank goodness even the biblical literalists don't take that part literally. So you know what I think? I think it's actually the back row where the CCMI A team sits Sunday after Sunday. Not too sure, watching the show but reserving judgment. Not sitting too close in case what's going on up here is catching. Biding their time. But they're here. God is crazy about those people. Blessed are the people who sit in the back row. Maybe it's the closest thing we know to blessed are the poor in spirit, which is how Jesus started out that Sermon on the Mount. Not blessed are the perfectly, flawlessly righteous, but blessed are those who know their need for God. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven, he said. That's what he said. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Jesus had all the time in the world for sinners and no patience whatever with religious people who thought they were virtuous. I find that very reassuring. He welcomed people who had screwed up. Maybe they could hardly look at themselves in the mirror, but he would look at them with pure compassion in his eyes. That's how I know God looking at us, with understanding as deep as the world. No illusions, no secrets, just love. Can you feel how the clouds lift and the sun comes shining through? We've got nothing to prove. Goodness is not about cold showers and straitjackets and endlessly trying harder and trying harder to be something we're not. Goodness is feeling the warmth of that love and reaching out for it, opening up to it, letting it in. The way to be good is to let love turn you into love. It's so simple, so wonderful. Eric and I met last Tuesday like we do. We got out today's scripture reading, went through it, and Eric went over to the filing cabinets and he started pulling out all these miserable sinner songs. He's got a good collection in there. Lord, have mercy. Don't shut me out from your presence. If you counted our transgressions, Lord, who could stand? Indeed, who could? I'm not mocking those songs. They're eloquent, they're haunting, they are heartfelt. But we looked at them and we put them back in the drawer. We're not here to grovel or to look at that empty row of prime seats and worry about it. In fact, what I would really love is if we got rid of that row of seats altogether. And I am serious about this. I would love it if a dozen able-bodied people could get up and grab one of those chairs and just stick it someplace else. Then if you in the back row want to move a little bit closer, that's up to you. It's your call. Let's get rid of this. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Those are the facility trustees. They're doing this right. Beloved brothers and sisters, we're not perfect, but that was never the point. We are loved. We've got grace to sing about and grace to live by. So praise God. It's time for the offering, which is our chance to say thanks. Your gifts are received now to say thanks to our gracious God. Amen.